So here I am, as you can see behind me, very desert-like landscape. I'm out in the Australian outback, the Australian desert, near the border of South Australia and Western Australia, crossing the Nullarbor, as they say. And it's a beautiful part of the world, a very barren and somewhat desolate part of the world. But in the last few hours, as I've been driving, the landscape has really opened up in a whole new way. The trees have disappeared, and there's just nothing but open plains, completely open plains, and a dead straight drive for hundreds and hundreds of kilometers without any turn. It's a very meditative drive, without a doubt. It's the second time I've done it. Last time was some years ago, going in the opposite direction. But with being present during this drive, not constantly distracting yourself, with really being present in the moment in the drive. Maybe listen to some meditative talks or spiritual talks or some music or something like this. You can go into a very deep space, similar to what I've experienced through meditation. It's like a moving meditation, literally driving in these incredibly long distances in a straight line can be incredibly meditative. So, of course, I've got flies buzzing all over my face, so excuse my swiping and wiping here. This is also a very Aussie outback thing, flies. So, the talk that I feel inspired to talk about right now is very much about awakening as it relates to non duality. And so, what do I mean by that? Well, we have an inner landscape. We have an inner landscape that is much like the outer landscape. As within, as without. As above, so below. So, the human being exists as this mirror of the external natural world, and we're just a smaller version or a microcosm of that. And so all these answers, all these meanings that we look so much outside of ourselves to find are, of course, within. It's actually the great spiritual trap to keep searching and seeking outside. Even spiritually, this is very much a spiritual trap, is that we think we're awakening, we think we're waking up or we've woken up, but we're just still trapped. We're just doing it in another way. We're still searching, we're still trying to find things, we're still going to the next spiritual workshop, we're just going to the next meditation retreat, we're going and taking ayahuasca again, we're doing a tantra workshop, and I say this because I've experienced this firsthand for many years, the spiritual seeking, and not even being aware of it myself, not even being aware of it for a long time and many years of still trying to find the next thing outside of myself that would heal me or fix me without even really being aware that that's what I was doing. It's almost like there's many levels to this spiritual journey or spiritual path, and that's definitely one of them that I think that we all have to go through at some point. And so I've been aware of this concept or teaching of non-duality. Some of you might be familiar with. If you're not, some of the famous teachers that were proponents of this teaching, or Advaita Vedanta as some people would call it, would be Nisargadatta, the Indian guru, Ramana Maharshi as well. They're probably the two most famous proponents. But essentially, in a nutshell, the essence of this teaching is that this duality that we experience as human beings, me, you, black, white, right, wrong, everything in our human experience has a dualistic nature. It's myself and the other. That this is essentially really just an illusion. It's just an illusion. It's not actually real. The truth or the essence of what we are and who we are is non-dualistic. It is one. It is oneness. To get back to this concept of the landscape, all rivers lead back to the ocean. So think of each human being as their own tiny little pond or their own tiny little stream or tiny little river. And we think that we're separate, but we're all connected to the ocean. We all lead back to the ocean. That is the truth of who we are. This can also be related and applied to consciousness. So this vast ocean of consciousness, this vast ocean of unlimited consciousness is actually what we are. And this is beyond the mind, and it's beyond any concept. And it's something that can't really be put into words. It has to be experienced. And the most that we can do is actually just try to talk about it or try to point to it. But we can never truly hold it, and we can never really truly conceptualize it with words. It's like the famous saying, don't mistake the finger pointing at the moon for the moon. And any teacher can be a very powerful tool, a very good thing to have. But no one can take you all the way to that final destination. They can only point to it. They can only reference it. There's no way that they can actually take you there. You have to get there yourself. But even as I say this, it's incredibly ironic because I'm talking about reaching a destination. I'm talking about getting somewhere. But there's actually nowhere to go. This is the grand irony and the hilarious thing about this whole spiritual journey is that there's actually nowhere to go and there's actually nothing to do. There's no one to become. There's nothing to be. This is also the illusion. This is also the spiritual trap that we get caught up in. Everything you're searching for, everything, it's right here, right now, in this moment. Right here. Heaven is here. Heaven is right here in this moment. Or if you're suffering, if you're experiencing great suffering, hell is right here in this moment. Some of you might find this a controversial statement, but it is what it is. Heaven and hell don't exist as some place, some destination, some locality up in the clouds or down in the earth or whatever. It is part of some traditional religious teachings. Heaven and hell is a state of the mind, without a doubt. And I've gone through periods in my life where I've experienced such intense and great suffering, just so much incredible pain that I thought I felt or thought that I was dying. Unbearable pain and suffering through deep states of depression. And it's funny, I said to myself once years ago when I was going through one of these experiences, I noticed I was saying to myself, or in this dialogue in my own head, I don't know how much longer I can go on. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I don't know how much longer I can hold on. I can't hold on anymore. And then this other voice came through, maybe another aspect of my own voice or a higher voice. And it said, what are you holding on to? What is there to hold on to? So even this statement of, I can't keep holding on much longer. I don't know how much longer I can keep holding on. What am I actually holding on to? What is it that I'm actually holding on to? There's nothing that I'm actually holding on to. And like in a puff of smoke, this suffering, pain just can disappear just like that. Be seen in the present moment as a complete illusion that it actually is. Because if we're truly, truly present, if we're truly present in the moment, truly present in the now, we are beyond time. We are not within this construct of time, which is essentially still a human construct. Something that we've created when we're truly present, completely not thinking of the past, not thinking of the future, just completely here, right now. If you're truly doing that, there is no suffering. 100%, 99%, whatever of our pain, of our misery, of our suffering is created through the mind, through this concept or these concepts or ideas of the past, or these concepts and ideas of the future, whether it's through anxiety for future things, or reminiscing or overthinking about the past, things that were, things that no longer are. These things don't even exist anymore. And all of us, we all do it all the time. We spend so much time fretting, worrying, so much mental energy about things that don't even exist anymore, things that will never exist again from the past. And then worrying, being anxious about things that might occur in the future. This is all the mind. These are all concepts within the mind. And as I said before, this truth of oneness, this truth of what we truly are, which is essentially pure consciousness and pure love. It is beyond words. It is beyond time. It is right here, right now. And in those spaces of stillness, when the mind becomes more still, when the mind becomes more calm, whether through meditation or just through practice and being really present, anyone can do it. We're not thinking. We're not thinking. And all these constructs, all these concepts, all these ideas, they're just not there. But do we cease to exist? No. Something of us, some part of us still exists. And there's that hint to what exists beyond the mind. Where is consciousness? Where does consciousness reside? Of course, good old modern science, would like to still lean us towards this idea that consciousness exists in the brain or in the physical body or in the mind somewhere. But where is it? Can anyone actually show us where consciousness resides? Where is it? Point it out. Science still has no way of showing or proving where consciousness exists. And if you've ever had an experience where you've been in a flow state, I've experienced this sometimes through competitive sports, experienced this through experiences with psychedelics, meditation, dropping into spaces where there's no thought, where you're just so completely present in the moment. There's no thoughts, almost no activity of the mind. You've gone completely beyond the mind. There's something still there. At least this has been my experience. There's something still there. Think of a veil or a curtain. We think that if the mind was to be shut off completely, that nothing else would exist. It's also very similar to the concept of death and our concepts or ideas of death, that when we die, perhaps that's it. When the mind is completely put offline, that nothing else exists. But it's my belief and it's my experience that when we do die, it's like changing the channel on a radio station. Perhaps not even changing the channel on a radio station, but perhaps the radio frequency is the mind. But there's still a radio station. There's still something much greater, much bigger there, beyond. You think that when the radio gets turned off, that's the end of it, but it's not. Beyond the veil, behind the curtain, is a witness, a greater, all-encompassing field of consciousness, awareness, beyond the mind, that is one, that is everything, that is pure love, which is essentially what we are. We are pure love. And everything is. I was driving along this road, this beautiful open plain that you see part of behind me. It's this beautiful sight, open desert, open land, open plain. There's no restriction in the view. There's no blockage in the view. And this is something that we rarely see, particularly if we're living in cities or suburbs. We usually always reach a point within the field or the vista that we're in where there's some kind of end or some kind of wall or block to our field of vision. And so when we're in these environments out in the desert, it's just this openness. It's this complete open vista. And there's no end. There's no restriction. It's completely open source. The beautiful thing about this landscape is it's as though this landscape is also a reflection of what I'm speaking of. This reflection of the truth of what we are. And using this analogy, it's interesting because when we're in the city and we're driving along our small roads in our cars and we're in traffic, bumper to bumper, squashed together, everything's so constricted, everything's so contracted, everything's so built up, and we struggle to see beyond. We struggle to see any openness. Everywhere we look, there's blocks, there's one thing on top of another. It's the complete opposite of what this space is. It's the complete opposite of an open vista. And we can fall into the trap of thinking that that's what our reality is. That's what our experience is. But it's not. This construct of everything being restricted and everything being blocked, it's also an illusion. We can take this concept and apply it to the sky as well. Looking up at the sky. I can look up at the sky now. I can see sections of the sky that are clouded. There's sections here that are massive sections of grey clouds. But then if I look over here, there's this big open pocket of blue sky. So where I choose to look, in this sky, is very revealing to my perception and to how I experience reality. So using this as a metaphor for how we perceive our experience, how we perceive reality. Are we focusing on grey clouds? Are we choosing to look at this aspect of our reality or this aspect of our life that is greyed over, that is clouded? Or do we just slightly redirect our vision and see that essentially what it actually is completely open sky. Limitless, vast, open sky. The clouds, the grey clouds, are merely obscuring. They're obscuring this open, unlimited vista. But we mistake these grey clouds for what is, for the truth of what is. And just like with consciousness, we mistake these limited viewpoints, these experiences of dualistic thinking, getting caught up, getting mixed up in the tiniest little trivial things in life and thinking that that's the truth of everything. Thinking that that's the reality. When these pains, these sufferings, these challenges, they're just grey clouds. They're just grey clouds that we're focusing on that are obscuring this open sky. It's really, really crazy. It's really quite crazy when you come to this point of realising that for years and years you've been chasing happiness, chasing pleasure, even through these spiritual scenes and spiritual communities, thinking, the next retreat will do it, the next connection with so-and-so will do it. This is another layer, thinking that other people are the answer to our happiness. very intoxicating, particularly when we fall for someone or we fall in love and we project this whole world of images of the self onto this other person. We become so intoxicated by it that we fall into this trap of believing or thinking that this person is the answer to our problems, that this person can fix us. I can't live without this person. I need them. Another trap. Once again, you don't need anything. What do you need to be happy? You don't need anything. You don't need anything to be happy. And any answer that you give to that question, it's coming from the mind. Some of you might fall back into the mind and go, oh, I need food, I need water, I need shelter. These things are important, without a doubt. It's certainly going to be a lot harder to be happy if you don't have those things. Let's say to some extent they're a necessity. But still, on the deepest layer, on the deepest level, there's nothing that we need to be happy. We are at our deepest core, at our very nature. We are happiness. We are love. We are joy. Once again, this frequency, this state of being, it's an embodied feeling, embodied knowing. Not up here, but in here. Tapping my chest, by the way, in case you can't see it. Cut off the head. Don't really cut off your head, but happiness is not found in here. So I think I'll leave it there for now. I hope this talk provided some interesting reflections for you. I think even getting triggered by what I'm saying is better than nothing. I think sometimes we really need to be triggered and to have our beliefs shaken up, have our concepts shaken up. Because so much of our beliefs are indoctrinations and programs that we've grown up and spent so much time holding on to. And that is, if anything, that is really what true awakening is. It's not about getting anything. It's not about gaining anything. And that's that trap again at the first part of the spiritual search. True awakening is not about getting anything. It's about letting go. About deprogramming. Everything. A lifetime. It's like a lifetime's worth of shit that's been piled on top of you. From parents, from teachers, from society. So much teaching us this dualistic, programmed way of thinking. Teaching us lies about the truth of what we really are. And so it's a lot. It's a lot to let go of. And this is no small task. This is one of the most challenging and greatest difficulties that you'll ever face if you fully throw yourself into it. It is not a pleasant experience. At least a lot of it for me has not been pleasant at all. It's essentially dying. It's dying before you die. Every belief, every concept of who and what you are, your identity, all these things that you've spent learning your entire life comes to a point where you actually have to let those go. Because the truth of who you are is beyond almost all of that. Almost all of everything that you've been taught and told how to be and what to do. So once again, that's not an easy task, can be incredibly painful. incredibly isolating, incredibly lonely at times. It's not this beautiful yoga chick up on a mountain posing like this. I think if we had a more accurate picture of the spiritual awakening process, it might be you inside a dumpster in the dark, sifting through crap and rubbish, sitting in a stench, a dark stench, until you've cleared it all out. But when you do start to find yourself more and more in those moments beyond that stench, you start to open up a little bit, you start to let more of this light in. Slowly and slowly, these extra pockets of light start to stream through. So we gradually let go of and disaccumulate all this crap that we've collected for so long. It really is a really beautiful thing. Really is a beautiful thing. When you start to experience that you don't need to go anywhere, that you don't need to do anything, that you don't need to be anyone beyond what you are. So call off the search. Accept your current moment, accept your current experience, accept it completely, accept it fully, because there is nothing else. There is nothing else but the present moment. And everything is right here. Everything. Everything that you've searched for, everything that you've looked for, everything that you've chased, actually right here. So just give up. Just give it all up. And the very moment that you stop trying, the very moment that you give it all up and stop searching and stop looking so damn hard, you realize that it was here, right here, inside, all along. The whole time. Just obscured. Home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is.